What's up, carnivores? Zach here with American Smoke, and today we're going over my top 5 tips for better barbecue. Tip number 1, always have a plan, and for the most part, plan means time. Plan equals time. Plan equals time. Make sure that you are looking at the clock. If you want to eat barbecue for lunch, fresh cooked barbecue for lunch, you need to count the hours back based on whatever it is that you're planning on cooking. Don't put a brisket on at 9 o'clock in the morning and expect to have brisket for a 7 o'clock dinner. Just don't do it. You're gonna end up serving tough brisket, or you're gonna serve brisket at 11. That's all it is to it. Because you're not gonna have time for a rest, you're gonna wind up skipping the rest. It's not gonna be as juicy as it would have been. Also, don't forget to factor in your prep time into your plan for time. You gotta plan for the amount of time it takes to cook the food. And let's just say we're using a brisket for this instance. Calculate in the time you're using to cook the brisket, calculate in the amount of time that you're gonna plan to prep the brisket. Don't say, I'm gonna start cooking this brisket at 10 o'clock at night, and then you start prepping the brisket at 10 o'clock at night, because that can take an hour. If you really get into it, it can take some time. And then you gotta fire this pit up, or whatever kind of pit you gotta get it hot. That takes time. You gotta factor that in. Last but not least, when it comes to your plan, you have to factor in the rest time. I don't care what you're cooking, as long as it's not like an appetizer or something like that. Any big piece of meat needs to rest. Boston butts, ribs, briskets, plate ribs, anything like that needs some rest time. And the bigger the piece of meat, the more rest time it needs. Ribs need to rest at least 15 to 30 minutes. But a brisket, 2 hours minimum, and you can keep on going as long as you want to go, as long as you keep it above food safe temperatures. Keep that meat above 140, 145 degrees, and you're good. Rest, 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 rest. So that's part of your plan, and that's what you need to be thinking about for better barbecue. Tip number 2 for better barbecue. Now that we figured out that we gotta have a plan, part of the plan is knowing what internal temperature you're trying to get to, and also what steps to take when it reaches certain internal temperatures. For this example, I'm gonna be using a Boston butt. When I cook a Boston butt, I need to know that when that Boston butt hits 160, 165, it's done. Pork is done at 150, 160, somewhere in there, as far as food safe is concerned. But you're not gonna get the texture that you want, and you're not gonna be able to shred it. So you need to be thinking about that internal temperature. When it gets to that 160, 165 degree mark, that's when you're getting ready to wrap up that Boston butt. Then, once it gets to 200 to 205 degrees, it's time to be prepared to pull that Boston butt. Don't say, well, I don't understand. My uncle told me about 8 hours and I had it in there 8 hours and it wasn't how I wanted it. Don't do that. Cook it till it's at the right internal temperature, and don't just barely poke that thing into there and just get a temperature reading on that, external last little ½ inch of that thing, and don't go too deep to where you're on the outside of the far side of the piece of meat. Take your meat probe, and if the piece of meat is this thick, you need to put your finger about right there, and then you guide it into the meat to where you know that it is at the right depth to get to the center of that piece of meat, because the center of that piece of meat is the last piece of it that is going to get to the temperature that you want. So make sure that you're considering that when using your meat probe. And then if you get the temperature that you want, and that probe goes in and out of that piece of meat real easy, and you don't see it trying to tug at it when you pull it out, you know you're gonna have better barbecue. Tip number 3 for better barbecue, and that is understand and expect the stall. And this goes into tip number 1, the plan. You have to make sure that you understand what the stall is and that you expect it, especially on larger cuts of meat. And I'm gonna do a video coming up on the stall, so make sure you subscribe so that you can check that out whenever it drops. But what you need to understand is that when a large piece of meat, and when I say large piece of meat, I'm also counting ribs. You can get a good stall on ribs. It won't be nearly as significant as a Boston butt, a shoulder, or a brisket or something like that. But you're gonna get a stall around 150 to 170, somewhere in there. That meat is just gonna stop raising in temperature. You might even see the internal temperature of it go down. And I have seen people not come up with a plan, be cooking barbecue for a bunch of people, and next thing you know, they're freaking out because everybody's hungry and this thing hasn't changed temperature since it hit 155. It's just been sitting there for 2 hours and they're freaking out. They're over there trying to see if, oh, maybe something's wrong with my thermometer, maybe something's wrong with the meat probe, although I've checked it with 6 of them. So just always make sure that you are looking for that stall and prepared for it. There's things that you can do to get past the stall. Say you are cooking for some people and you want to go ahead and get it done a little faster. You've seen me do this in other videos if you've watched some of my other content, which 1, you can wrap in paper. That's gonna speed things up a little bit. 2, wrap in foil. That's gonna speed things up pretty dramatically. It's also what you've probably heard of it. It's called the Texas Crutch or the Texas Cheat. And what it does is it just locks in heat, locks in moisture, and more or less creates a steaming effect, as opposed to the convection cook that you get inside of your chamber from the smoke and the heat passing over the meat. And it just speeds things up a little bit. You are gonna lose some of your consistency on your outside bark, but it will speed it up. Tip number 4 for better barbecue. And a lot of this, tip number 4, is going to be something that you have to have experience for, but you can know what to expect and it'll help you to speed up your feel. And that's what it's about, feel. You have to learn to be able to feel the meat, to know what you're looking for, and to know that it's done. Because you may be looking for 205 on a brisket, but that brisket might be done at 200. It might be done at 195, or it might need to go to 210. If you pick it up and it's stiff, it's not tender. If you pick up a rack of ribs and they feel like a 1x6, they're not ready. They need to bend a little bit. And the more you make barbecue, the more you'll become accustomed to the feel of the meat and what it feels like when it's how you like it. Because you may not like your ribs the way I like my ribs. And yours might feel a little bit different when they're how you like them as compared to how mine are gonna feel when they're how I like them. There's no universal system. There is pretty universal that you don't want your ribs to feel like a 1x6. You just don't. You want to have a little bit of bend, because that bend equals tenderness. When you've got your Boston butt, you want a little bit of jiggle, baby. You want to be able to wiggle that bone a little bit. When you got your brisket, you want to see that fat cat jiggling. You want to see the whole thing jiggling just a little bit. If you don't have that, you don't have tenderness. Every piece of meat that you cook is part of your barbecuing experience, and your barbecuing experience is what makes you better at barbecue. Get your hands on it, feel it. Say, man, this is just right. This is exactly how I like it. Get a feel for that meat. Cop a feel, baby. It'll help you become a better pitmaster, I promise. So that's tip number 4. Get a feel for your barbecue. Tip number 5. I'm glad you stuck around for tip number 5. Let the meat rest. I mentioned this earlier on, but it's so important that it can be mentioned in the planning section, and then also it needs to be mentioned as a key to making better barbecue. When you are making barbecue, the whole point of what you're doing is to slowly but surely raise the temperature of that meat so that it doesn't just shoot the moisture out because it got too hot too fast. You want that moisture to come out nice and slow so that the fat renders and goes from a solid state to a liquid state. And when that happens, the fat melts down into the fibers of the meat and becomes very, very thin, very watery, and easily runs out of the meat when it's that hot. What happens when you let it rest is all that fat that's trying to work its way out and through the meat starts to pull back towards the center. As the temperature comes down, the fat starts to thicken up a little bit and it becomes more and more part of the final product. Whereas if you just cut it right open, it just runs out. If you check out a video and somebody is showing a piece of barbecue that they've cooked and they're showing like all this fat running out of it, look how juicy it is. What they've done is they have cut it open right when it was hot, when everything was super runny, and everything just looks like it's the juiciest piece of meat in the world. But in reality, when they're cooking that piece of meat, when they're not cooking it for your eyes, they're letting it rest, and when they cut it open, it doesn't look like that as much. You don't want all that running out. You want it staying in so that it's in the meat when you put it in your mouth. Keep that in mind. Always let your meat rest and have different expectations of rest time for each individual piece of meat. Like I said, 15 to 30 minutes on ribs, hour, 2 hour plus on larger cuts. For all of y'all that are still here, I've got a bonus tip for you, and this involves your expectations of your barbecue. What you need to understand is that you are the type of person that researches and looks and reads and learns and asks around how to make better barbecue. So you have very high expectations, and you are gonna beat yourself up every time a piece of meat doesn't work out exactly the way that you want it to and exactly the way you saw somebody else do it. Nobody else expect what you expect. I mentioned earlier in this video somebody shredding a pork butt when it was not ready yet. I've seen people do the same thing with briskets and stuff like that. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. You know why? Because even bad barbecue is delicious. Even bad barbecue is delicious because it's fatty, it's got smoke flavor, it's got salt and pepper on it 99.9% of the time, and it just tastes good. The texture might not be perfect, but it tastes good, and most everybody's just gonna be happy to be eating some of the food that you provided. So don't beat yourself up too hard. Take it in, learn from it, and do better next time. That's the fun part about being a barbecue pitmaster, is that you're always learning. I don't care who you are. If you're Myron Mixon, you are still learning the art of barbecue. If you're the most winningest man in barbecue, you're still learning, and he'll tell you that. So keep that in mind. Don't be too hard on yourself. Thank you so much for sticking around. Please make sure to hit that like button for me. It's the most important thing to help me grow my channel. Also, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you're aware every time I come out with new content. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see you in the next video.